I have seen the Twitter. I've seen the Facebook. It's very exciting. I send a lot of pictures on to my friends, my other cats all over the country. I send to them. It's very exciting. They write me back. None of us actually can write in English, so we don't know what each other is saying, but we do our best.
Even Brain, can Brain use the internet?
Oh, forget it. No, we sit with Brain. We try so hard. He's here. Brain, how are you doing?
I don't know how to use this thing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, poor old Brain. Sure, you never know. Maybe by 2020 he might just get to grips with it.
I think when Brain hits, once Brain hits 550, I think he'll be able to figure one of these things out.
Yeah. Listen, TC, you've a film out now. People can go see Top Cat on the big screen.
Oh, yes, I do. They made a movie. It's a documentary. It's what goes on in New York every day.
What can people expect when they go to see Top Cat the movie?
Well, there'll be action, there'll be adventure. There's a horrible villain who will eventually get his in the end, because that's what we do. You'll see all the cats you know and love. The little fat one, Benny. Oh, Benny's my good friend. He eats too much, but he makes a great stew. I'll tell you that bottle cat boot stew. You'll see, and a very pretty lady. Top Cat finally gets a romance. I've been asking for one for 50 years.
For once, your chat-up lines will finally work.
Exactly.
But I have my problems with it. Oh, hi, I'm sorry. This is Choo Choo.
Hi, Choo Choo. I'm a big fan.
I don't think there should be any romance going on because we're a gang. It's about the boys staying together, yes.
Right. And did you enjoy being on the big screen this time, Choo Choo?
I did, but I don't seek out celebrity in any way. So, for me, I just want, a nice meal and a quiet alley.
And what would be your favourite meal, Choo Choo?
I do enjoy a boot stew with the rest of them, but fish bones are always kind of fun to pick on. I'm also a little bit of a fan of candy, which I know is normally not supposed to be for cats, but I do. I like chocolate. I'm the one chocolate-eating cat, I think.
I know Jason Harris might be there. Is Jason there, Choo Choo?
Oh, you want to talk to him?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, give me the phone, Choo Choo. All right.
Great to chat to you, Jason. I'm a big fan of voice acting, and obviously this is a massive gig for you. How did you go about perfecting the voices?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, honestly, this whole thing started when a friend of mine who I've worked with on a couple of other animated films got asked to do what they call a scratch track, which is just a temporary track for what was going to ultimately be the Spanish release. And he asked, he knew I was a pretty good mimic, and I do a lot of animation, obviously. So he said, hey, go and watch I actually started watching the old cartoons on YouTube. I just started watching the Top Cat cartoons, and we sat down and we read through the script. And for the original version, I actually did everything. I did for the scratch track. I did all the voices all the way through. And then when they decided they were going to make an English version, the producers called me and they gave me a list of the roles they liked. They said, "Here, could you play this, and this, and could you help us cast the rest of it?" And so it kind of became that's sort of how it happened. And but yeah, it's very knowing it's such a classic cartoon, and in the States, it's actually a little before my time. It ran in the early '60s, so it was before me. But I had to, so I spent a lot of time really trying to get familiar with the show and the style. And every once in a while, we try to throw in a little update here and there. With a couple of the characters, we said, let's make them a little more contemporary. Spook, rather than kind of having him be a hep 60s cat, we made him, I think, more like a surfer dude. So... there was experimentation going along with the voices. Some of it works great. Some of it, well, maybe we would change if we did it again or if we do it again. But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun because it's a very, it's such a well-known classic. So but it's also a little scary when you're working on something that's such a well-known classic, because there are people who are purists and they want it exactly the way they remember it, and that's hard to do.
Luckily, cats always land on them.
Tomcat, the most effectual Tomcat.
In 2012,
Close friends get to call him TC.
the coolest cat
Fighting its with dignity. Tomcat,
is back.
beautiful leader.
Now, you voice actually, is it 5 characters or is it 6 in total? And you also do the voice directing in the film. What was that process like?
Well, I play Top Cat, Choo Choo, Brain, Strickland, the Maharaja, Griswold, Big Gus. I probably actually throughout the film play about 10 characters, and then all the other ones were cast in New York and L.A. And I would travel back and forth. It was challenging because my co-director got another job and left, so I sort of became the voice director with all these parts already assigned to me, which it can be kind of a lonely world. It was me and an engineer in a studio doing one part at a time. But so the most fun for me was actually directing some of the other actors, like Benny, who was great. A guy named Chris Edgerly does such a great job as Benny. An actor named Bill Lobley plays Officer Dibble, and I thought he was fabulous too. Those were always a lot of fun. I would try to divide the day where I would direct a session of somebody else, and then I would do a session with myself. So those were each, and we would go every day for months.
Arnold Stang did the original voice for TC.
Yes, it was Arnold Stang. People think it's Phil Silvers, and I think it was initially Arnie Stang based it on Phil Silvers, but he gradually changed it, and it was a lot more of him in it as it moved along.
Did you obviously watched, as you mentioned, all the cartoons that you could to try and perfect the voice, and it obviously took loads and loads of practice. In your career to this date, had you done that before for a role? Had you had to try and do an impression of someone?
I've done some. Usually I'm creating the voice, which in some ways that could be, it's easier and it's harder. It's easier in that it's you, so you can do whatever you want. It's harder in that if sometimes. When you're imitating a voice, you at least know what the goal is. When you're creating a voice, you don't always know. Should you make it very deep, or should you go really high? You're kind of trying to figure out where the character lives. So that's hard. I have done voice matching. I've actually done a lot of movies where I voice match an American actor, Matthew Broderick. I don't know if he's that. Do you know him over there?
Ferris Bueller?
Yes. And I would always do it. I'd always start with his from Biloxi Blues. That's my line to get me into him, where I'd go, "It's my 4th day in the Army, and so far I hated everyone." I don't know if it's a movie called Biloxi Blues, but I was used on B-Movie and Tale of Despero, and I did a lot of things as Matthew Broderick. So I had a lot of, and I get hired for a lot of movies to try to imitate the actors who can't come in to do a line here and there. And as far as cartoons go, most of the time I'm sort of creating whatever the character is.
Video games is another big option for voice actors at the moment. I mean, they've almost become movies in their own right.
Yeah, I've done a lot of video games. I did, more of them in L.A. L.A. is where they really churn them out. New York, not as much, but. Oh gosh, I did, Despicable Me, I did, and I was Jason Segel. Don't ask me to remember what he sounded like, but I did the Jason Segel character. I actually did the video games. Anything with Matthew Broderick, I usually do the video games. Turok, and I've probably done 100 video games. The funny thing is, of course, my childhood, I played, the Atari. So I've never really gotten into the video games. I'm amazed when I'm doing them that they're like giant movies. Yeah. But I don't, it's like a hobby that everyone tells me I have to get into, and I go, oh no, because I see friends who spend so many hours doing it, and it just terrifies me.
Yeah, it sounds like
So-
it sounds like a really sweet gig, Jason. Is it great fun to do, or is it really hard work, or is it hard work on your voice?
It's a little of both. I worked on a movie yesterday, which was it's only going to play in the States. It's because it's about the New York Yankees, and it's called Henry and Me. And it was that I basically cast and did all of the smaller roles, and a lot of it was the stadium. It was about the excitement of in the States a baseball playoff game. So some of it was just sheer screaming and cheering and being an umpire and being the baseball players, and then being the it can be very physically. At the end of a day, you could really be physically drained. I mean, it just depends. Video games too, because usually 90% of characters in video games, unfortunately, die. So when you get your script and then you look at the last 10 pages, it's all of the interesting ways that they're going to kill you, and that is usually involves a lot of vocal strain. So, but it is great fun. It's very creative. They're very funny, talented people who do this. So I get to work with some of the craziest people in the world, which is a lot of fun.
Now, Jason, not everyone gets to play an iconic cartoon character like Top Cat, and I think I hear him coming back into the studio there if he's there. Are you there, TC?
Oh, I was just sitting here going, when are you going to give me the phone already? I don't know. Jason likes to talk, but we don't always like to listen.
TC, you're on the big screen now. Is that a big change? Normally we've seen you on our little TV sets in the corner. Are you enjoying people getting to see a big Top Cat?
Oh, I'm enjoying it very much. I get a massage every day now. I have caviar instead of kibble. I'm trying to live the real Hollywood life. But yes, it's very exciting to be on the big screen. Although I have to tell you, you gain 15 pounds. And for a cat, that's enormous. That's just enormous.
Was that a big factor when it came to the 3D side of the film? Was that fun?
Yes, the 3D aspect is now you get to really just see every part of me. It's really quite scary. I'm going to the groomer later today.
Irish audiences love cartoons. They love 3D movies, TC. What can they expect when they go to see you at our local cinema?
Well, they're going to see, like I said, they're going to see a lot of fun. They're going to see a lot of excitement. They're going to see chase scenes. They're going to see dogs. Be warned. There's dogs in this. I personally tried to change it so that all the dogs were written out of the script, but I didn't have control over that aspect. But there are dogs. Some of them are cute, but most of them, well, you know how I feel about them. You will see excitement. You'll see intrigue. You'll see love and friendship. And even a very old tune from the 70s that plays several times.
Listen, TC, it's been great to chat with you. I'm sure kids, young and old, are going to enjoy your latest foray back onto our screens in Top Cat
that
in
just
3D.
warms the cockles of my heart.
Top Cat, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, don't I get fed for this? Wait, somebody's going to feed me? Hello? Wait.
The most effectual Top Cat.
In 2012,
Effectual. Close friends get to call him
the
DC.
coolest cat
Fighting ends with dignity. Top Cat.
is back.
Beautiful leader of the gang. He's the boss, he's a whip.